So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Frost claiming that the Northern Ireland Protocol is not definitive. So just in case anyone who didn't know, definitive is a conclusion of agreement done or reached decisively and with authority. So he's claiming that it's not over yet. Now, Frost is wrong about this. The Northern Ireland Protocol is done. It's dusted. There are tweaks that we can make. We can sign up for an SPS agreement, for example, and that would allow some of the checks to be gone. But Frost doesn't want to do that. What he is talking about is making changes to the Northern Ireland Protocol. The problem is, if he tries to do that, the EU are going to have to agree to it, and most likely it's going to have to be voted on by the EU Parliament as well, which can take a long time. So what Frost is talking about here, again, is absolute rubbish. He says the UK government does not regard the Northern Ireland Protocol it agreed with the EU as part of Boris Johnson's withdrawal deal as definitive. Well, the thing is, Frost, it is definitive. It's over. It's done. Despite the protocol forming an international treaty signed by the UK, which was agreed to by two sides, by the way, the EU and the UK, Frost said it was not reasonable to regard its text as the final word on arrangements for the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic. The thing is, it has tweaks in it. It allows certain things to happen if both sides consent. But what Frost is saying here is absolutely ridiculous, to try and argue that the Northern Ireland Protocol isn't finished, when it is. It's been signed by the UK Parliament and the EU Parliament, and also by, I think, EU member states as well. So I don't understand what he's talking about. In comments that will be seen as deeply ironic in the light of the government's implementation of Brexit on the back of a 52-48 vote. Let's not forget that some of these people voted for very different things. Some people would have voted for what they thought was a Norway deal, a Swiss deal, a no deal, etc. So these were people who voted on very different things, by the way, very different outcomes. I'm sure there are farmers and fishermen who would say that the Brexit they voted for, this isn't it, Chief. But yeah, the Prime Minister's senior negotiator argued that the protocol was difficult to operate because it enjoyed only 50-50 support among the Northern Irish public. I did not realise it was the Northern Irish public that were running the Northern Ireland Protocol. They were the ones. I didn't realise it was the Northern Irish public that were the ones in the border post checking paperwork and authorising things or rejecting things. I didn't realise it was the public. I thought it would have been border force, customs officers, but clearly I'm wrong. He told the Northern Ireland Assembly that a broader level of consent was needed for such fundamental changes to work. So as far as I know of, in a few years' time, the Northern Ireland Assembly will vote on the Northern Ireland Protocol. So there's your consent right there. And you could argue that some parliamentary systems are undemocratic, but at the end of the day, this is the system that, countries have. This is the way things were voted on. This is as good as it will get, especially in countries like the UK and Northern Ireland, specifically in this case. So it will be voted on. So the idea that Northern Ireland did not consent to it is true, but this is the best of a very bad situation right now, because the alternatives, as we've mentioned, are not great. So this idea about consent is ridiculous. They did the Northern Ireland Protocol against the consent of Northern Ireland. They did Brexit against the consent of the people of Northern Ireland, the majority who voted to remain, by the way, in case Frost forgot about that. So giving evidence to Stormont's executive committee, Frost acknowledged that the deal he negotiated and Boris Johnson agreed in 2019 has had a chilling effect on British exports to Northern Ireland and prompted a shift in supply chains towards the Republic of Ireland, which is true, because you've got to think that you have two sides, right? Northern Ireland had unfettered access to GB, but also unfettered access to Ireland, okay? Right now, it has lost that access to GB, but has kept the access to Ireland. So it makes sense that cross-border trade between NI and Ireland would increase a lot. So again, Frost, if he's surprised by this, then, he definitely shouldn't be in his job. I mean, regardless, he shouldn't be in his job, but, it shows you how stupid the man is. He said there was evidence that mainland pharmaceutical companies had either began to withdraw from sales of medicines to Ulster or planned to do so by the end of the year. But the thing is, I don't think Frost actually offered any substantial evidence with regards to medicines. As far as I know of, the EU have said, yeah, we'll allow medicines to go through, and the EU will offer further concessions on that so long as the UK holds up to, its end of the bargain. So this point here is a red herring, and the sausage war itself is a red herring, and that's something we'll talk about at another time when the time comes. So Frost again blamed the disruption on the overzealous EU implementation. again, he offers. These people talk about how overzealous the EU is, the implementation, the interpretation, all these buzzwords, right? But they never say what is specifically wrong with the EU's implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. All they offer you is buzzwords. They don't offer specifics. He suggested that the text could be amended and reinterpreted in order to improve the flow of trade between the British mainland and Northern Ireland. So it could be reinterpreted. That's a possibility. A bit difficult to do, but be amended. I think that's going to require the consent of both, the UK and the EU. So this point here about amendments is not going to happen without the EU's consent. He said, I don't think it's right to look at the protocol as a definitive text that was there in October 2019, and there's nothing more to say. He said, it's very clear reading the text that that's not the case. So he's saying that, the text says that, the deal agreed in 2019 wouldn't be the final deal, which I don't think that's the case, Frost. I mean, fair enough, you negotiated it, you should know better than me, but I genuinely don't think that's the case. There are tweaks that are on offer and other sort of agreements the UK could make, but it needs the EU's consent to do that. Hence why when we took unilateral action, we got sanctioned. Anyways, we'll go on. As discussions with the EU remain stalled over Britain's refusal to accept alignment on veterinary standards, which is true, the UK wants equivalency, but the thing is the UK cannot be trusted because it keeps threatening deregulation. It's doing that with agri-foods and it's doing that with services. So it makes sense why the EU would not offer us equivalency and wants alignment instead. Frost repeated London's threat to suspend the protocol by invoking Article 16. I did see an article that cited Maureen McGuinness, who she said that the UK aren't going to do that. They're not going to do invoke Article 16. So subscribe for that, and I'll cover that once I get there. But, Frost going on to say all options remain on the table, he said, adding that the government will set out a position in statement to Parliament before summer recess begins on the 22nd of July. So tick, 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 tick. He's got about 8 days, less than 8 days, depending on when this video goes out. But he does not have a long time. Under Article 16, the UK can take action if the protocol gives rise to a serious economic, societal or environmental difficulties or diversion of trade, but risk triggering retaliatory tariffs from Brussels. So what you can gather from that is if the UK use Article 16, we're going to get tariffed the hell out of. And not to mention the fact that products going from GB to NI will also face tariffs. That's another problem. So taking these actions is not a smart move from the UK if we're going to face tariffs. Frost came under fire from nationalist members of the executive committee who told him that the UK government should implement the deal it had agreed, which they're absolutely correct on. It's your deal, said the committee's SDLP chair Colin McGrath. If your deal is so shoddy, why did you negotiate? And these are questions that we've been asking Frost for over a year, for about 6 months now. If the Northern Ireland Protocol is so bad, why did you negotiate it? Why did you accept it? Why did you in 2019 run on it in the general election? And Sinn Féin's Martina Anderson, who absolutely had him, absolutely battered Frost verbally. An MEP at the time of Brexit told Frost, "You were Britain's chief negotiator for Brexit. Your eyes were wide open and your fingerprints are on every page of the protocol." He was our chief negotiator, if anyone's forgotten that. The majority of people here in the north, so talking about Northern Ireland, rejected Brexit, which is true, they did, and the majority of parties here in the Assembly who represent the majority of people rejected Brexit but support the protocol because they know that the protocol is the only thing that's kind of keeping things stable as is right now. If the protocol goes, what happens? Do they put a hard border within the island of Ireland? No. Do they take Ireland out of the single market? No. So what happens then? The UK gets slapped with massive tariffs. WTO rules, potentially sanctions over breaching international law. We don't know specifically what the EU will do in this regard, but the UK is risking a lot by getting rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol, hence why we're not going to do that. Unless we're run by total madmen. Oh wait, we are. So she goes on to say, "You were the chief negotiator, you were not asleep, you knew there were going to be trade adjustments, the dogs in the street knew there were going to be trade adjustments, even the DUP Brexit cheerleaders knew there were going to be trade adjustments, hence why they voted to reject the withdrawal agreement in the end. And they felt you threw them under the bus because Boris Johnson did. The irony of these unionists who want to cling to a nation that actively threw them under the bus is ridiculous." Miss Anderson said that a recent poll had shown just 6% in Northern Ireland trusted the UK government over the protocol, but Lord Frost responded that another poll found a 50-50 split in Northern Ireland on whether the protocol was desirable. So again, let's break this down, okay? So she's saying, Miss Anderson saying, a recent poll had shown just 6% in Northern Ireland trusted the UK government over the protocol. So every 6 in 100 people trust the government over the protocol. The rest don't. Some people would have put don't know, but I'm guessing the majority of people don't trust them. Okay, that's a good point. What Frost is saying is that there's a 50-50 split in Northern Ireland whether the protocol is desirable. You know, the word desirable, do you want the Northern Ireland protocol there? No. Do you accept it has to be there? Yes. That's probably how the poll would have gone. So this kind of poll he's citing is just ridiculous. You know, he's saying if you have a 50-50 division of opinion, but you weren't asked, you know, what would you scrap it and what would you do in its place? They were asked, is it desirable? You know, so again, just a stupid point from Frost. And he went on to blame Theresa May's administration for the problems with the protocol that were currently causing disruptions and tensions in Northern Ireland. That's the sign of a mediocre politician who blames their predecessor for their failure. You know, that is the sign of a weak politician, especially in the context of Lord Frost, where he's blaming Theresa May because, you know, he's saying that, we couldn't deviate too much from her Brexit deal, but you turned a backstop into a front stop. Like, that was you, Chief. Let's not forget that. But yeah, you know, Frost trying to argue that the Northern Ireland Protocol isn't definitive is just a joke because it's been agreed to by both sides. It can't be changed by one side unilaterally unless you want to face more legal action, which, you know, if that's his thing, then fair enough, because these lawyers ain't cheap, but he's not paying for them. It's the taxpayer who is. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.